Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into something that's way more complicated than it looks moving a piano. It seems pretty straightforward, right? But it's actually this wild mix of art, science, and yeah, a little bit of brute force. So let's just start with the biggest question right off the bat. Can you just call up any old moving company for this? I mean, a piano isn't just a heavy piece of furniture. We're talking about a massive, but incredibly delicate, musical instrument with thousands of tiny moving parts. The short answer? No way. And this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? It frames the stakes perfectly. You would never, ever let a standard delivery guy handle a priceless, fragile sculpture. A piano is exactly the same. It's an investment, sometimes it's a family heirloom, and it's a really sensitive instrument that just needs a whole different level of care. I mean, the difference is just night and day. On one side, you've got your regular movers, and let's be honest, they're often rookies who just don't have the right gear. And on the other side, you have piano specialists. These folks bring in specialized training. They know about balance, about protection, and they're meticulous. This is why hiring a specialist isn't some kind of luxury, it's an absolute must. So, what's the secret sauce? What is it that really separates a true specialist from a rookie? Well, it really just boils down to two things: the unique tools they use and their deep, expert knowledge of the instrument itself. See, a professional piano move is all about precision and protection, not just raw muscle. We're talking about custom-built piano boards, heavy-duty dollies, super thick padded blankets, and even hoisting gear for those really tough jobs. This is specialized stuff that your average moving company just doesn't have lying around. And look, this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Real specialists know how to handle the unique challenges of pretty much everything, from your standard upright piano to a massive grand piano, and even more unique instruments like spinets and organs. Every single one has its own center of gravity, its own delicate parts. Okay, so let's see how all this specialized gear and knowledge actually gets used when things get tough in the real world. This is where the rubber really meets the road. An upright piano might be relatively straightforward, but something like a baby grand? Whoa, that's a whole different ballgame. It requires this intricate step-by-step system. We're talking professional disassembly, taking off the legs and pedals, then wrapping it like a mummy, securing it on its side, and then very carefully putting it all back together at the destination. It's practically a surgical procedure. And this is where you really see their value. Specialists are trained to deal with all the weird architectural quirks you find in homes, especially older ones. Those tight corners or super steep staircases. For them, that's not a deal breaker. It's just another Tuesday. They're trained to handle all the most common and, frankly, terrifying obstacles. Multiple flights of stairs, narrow hallways, you name it. They've even got plans for moving in bad weather, like rain or snow, to make sure the instrument stays completely protected. It's all about anticipating every single problem so that you don't have to. Okay, so let's talk money. Because yeah, this level of specialized service and all that fancy equipment, it comes with a cost. It's not the same as just hiring a couple of guys with a truck. So let's break down what you can probably expect to pay for this kind of precision. All right, so for a local move, you're generally looking at a base cost somewhere in the range of, say, $150 to $350 for an upright, and maybe $250 to $650 for a grand. But, and this is a big but, the final cost is going to be heavily influenced by add-on fees for things like stairs, long carries from the truck, or any complex disassembly. To make this super concrete, here's a sample scenario. A really simple ground floor to ground floor move for an upright piano, going just a short distance, like 5 miles, that might cost you around $260. That would probably cover the base fee and a little bit for mileage. So here's the bottom line, the number one takeaway here. Always, always insist on a transparent, written estimate that breaks down every single charge. This line item pricing is really the only way you can accurately compare quotes from different companies and make sure there are no nasty surprises on moving day. All right, now that we know the what, the why, and the how much, let's turn all this info into a practical guide, an actionable checklist you can use to hire a moving service and feel really good about it. So the real trick is, how do you sort the true pros from the general movers who just say they can move a piano? Well, it all comes down to asking the right questions, right from that very first phone call. You'll want to focus on 5 key questions. Ask them about their piano-specific experience, what size crew they'd bring for your piano, and if they can handle hoisting. That'll tell you a lot about their expertise right away. And of course, getting crystal clear answers on rates and insurance, totally non-negotiable. And hey,
While you're asking questions, you have to keep your eyes peeled for these red flags. If they're vague about insurance, don't mention specialty gear, or, and this is a big one, won't put an estimate in writing, run. If they can't confidently tell you about recent similar jobs they've done, they are probably not the experts you're looking for.
Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one question. Taking the time to really check out your movers, asking the tough questions, and watching for those red flags, that's the only way you can be sure that your answer to this question is a confident, resounding yes.